I don't know about you folks, but after OPEC's shocking million barrel cut of oil production, I could not think of a better expert to start off our Monday with than a 10-year Wall Street veteran who looks at commodities, stocks, bonds, and really has the ability to, draw in his history and also look into the future. And that, of course, is Taylor from Life Goal Investments, man. How you doing?
Too kind of you, Michael. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to chat about this. This was an interesting one.
Yeah, I don't know about you. When on my bingo card, I did not have OPEC cutting a million barrels is a one thing to watch.
Yep.
But what was kind of, because I saw it yesterday evening. I don't know if you were online or whatnot, but it quickly became the top trending thing on my various financial news feeds. So, what was kind of your take when you saw that come across?
Yeah. Well, I think the important thing to realize too is this is coming on the backs of a 2 million barrel cut back in October too.
Yes. Yeah.
So, we keep saying this, and the market keeps bucking against us and going up. But at the end of the day, if you look at any bit of economic data, it is all leaning in the same direction. Like OPEC is not cutting because there's vast demand out there and stabilizing oil prices. So yeah, I mean, I think this is just another layer in the fact that we're seeing the obvious news playing out that the economy at large here domestically in the United States, but worldwide is slowing. And if you're trying to say anything else, it's tough to back it up with any real fact.
Yeah. So it was really interesting because, again, when surprising news comes out like this, the conspiracy theorists go nuts right away. And
Sure.
and you know, a lot of the stuff I was reading was basically saying Saudi Arabia is doing this to Biden on purpose. They're trying to punish America, all of those things, which again, maybe there's a piece of truth in that, maybe. But I think the bigger point when you step back and realize oil is in everything and it's a worldwide commodity. And I'm like, OPEC's not cutting production because there's a lot of demand, right? They're afraid that it's going to go to $55. That's what they're
Correct.
afraid of. So
Correct. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist either, but I am a insider trader theorist. And if you look
you mean
at
it happens out there? Come on.
yeah, if you look at WTI last
Yeah.
week, it was up 9.3% in a week. And it's like,
Yes.
oh, tell me some people in the Middle East aren't trading ahead of time on this news that they know they're going to cut production and prices are going to go up. And so oil is up another, 5% or something like that today, but it went up 9% prior
9%. Yeah.
to this cause. And by the way, it was trending downwards going into that 9% pop last week. So
Yeah.
I have a tough time looking at that and saying, oh, really good foresight. No.
Yeah. No. You know what they did there is they wrote the press release last week and they just scheduled
Exactly
it to
right.
pop on Friday or Sunday or whatever it popped. So again, so that's where I went first. Then I stepped back and realized that oil is in everything. It's a big part of PPI and CPI, and it's shocking how pervasive oil is.
It certainly
So
is.
yeah, so I look at this and go, this has got to make the Fed's job harder, at least
It
on
does.
the margin.
It does. And it's not just the fact that oil is in everything. Everything that gets shipped to your house, some way, shape, or form gets touched by oil. All plastics have oil in it. I mean, obviously, to your point, it's pervasive, it's everywhere, but it's also the psychological component. Oil is the biggest psychological barometer for what is going on with inflation in general. And inflation is a feedback loop. And Jerome Powell has spoken about this a lot. As people think inflation is going to go higher, they end up driving it higher because that's the thought process that is that kind of feedback loop. And so when they drive by the gas station that puts the billboard in front of their store that says how much gas prices are, whether it actually has a really durable, meaningful effect on their life or not, it does to some. It definitely does to those on the lower end, but those on the higher end, it really doesn't, for all intents and purposes. But it has that psychological effect on them, no doubt.
Yeah. And again, oil is one of those things that not only is pervasive, but you're right. It will get to the gas pump very quickly.
Yeah, it's what's the statement? Gas prices in response to oil rise like a rocket and fall like a feather.
Yeah, exactly.
That's I don't know if that's perfectly put, but you
Yeah.
get the point. Like they
Yeah.
go up very quick in
Very
response to higher
quickly.
oil prices, and then they float down slowly in regards to lower oil prices.
Yeah. So back, at the end of the day, I think you're in the camp that the Fed will not raise May 3rd, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. Do you think they pause May 3rd?
I am in that camp. Yeah. And I actually, if you remember, I was in the camp that they didn't have to move in the last time either. I think the amount of movement that is being caused by the banking structure, and the flaws that we're seeing play out there are going to be vastly larger than any rate movement that they're going to have or put forth. So just on the fact that it's going to constrain lending, as people are worried about the balance sheet strength of a bank, the last thing you can do is go out and flood lending into the market with easy, loose monetary policy there. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm of the camp that they probably don't move again.
So I want to give you a chance to be right. So I'll let you change your opinion if you want. This is,
I knew you were on the other side of this. You didn't have to tell me where you were.
does this oil thing change your mind? Because again, we got a month. It's a month from today.
Yeah, it's interesting. I haven't thought about that, to be
Okay.
totally honest with you. Whether this is going to change things or not. It certainly makes the job tougher. And again, the psychological component is the biggest thing that changes because of this. I don't know that it necessarily changes real broad-based structural inflation, but it definitely changes that psychological component. But I'll stay pat where I am.
Okay.
I'll stay on the wrong side of this.
It's all right. You're pretty consistent on that side. It's okay. Yeah, but I stand pat with they're going to do one more and they're going to pause for the rest of the year. I guess the last thing we'll talk about here is.
So let me say one thing on that too. They have been very consistent with doing what they said they were going to do.
Correct.
Right. And so in all likelihood, to be honest with you, they you're probably right. They probably do because they said they're going to do it and they want to stick by that. I guess mine is more of a hope, if you will, a hope that they don't.
That's fair.
And being hopeful that they aren't going to has not been a successful bet. But that said, I think we are where we need to be on the inflation train, and that's moving downwards consistently. We'll see. But yeah, I just want to state the claim there.
Yeah, no, and again, I think I've always thought that Powell's going to go one more than he should. I think this is the one.
Yep.
He's always told us if he breaks something, he knows how to. I mean, he's told us he's going higher, so I'm going to take him at his word. He's going to get us to 5, and then pause for the rest of the year. One of the things that I don't think the market understands is there's a lot of people wishing, hoping, betting that there's up to a full 100 basis points in cuts this year. What I have to say to that is, I hope not.
Yeah, exactly right. That's exactly where I was going with that. Is something is breaking meaningfully if that happens, meaningfully. So yeah, you don't want that to take place. And we've talked at length about this, but even after the first Fed rate cut comes, it's 13 months historically before you actually find the bottom of the market. And people say this time is different, and it might very well be. That's just a law of averages there. That's taking all the numbers and dividing by 8, looking at the last 8 recessions, and it could be shorter than that. But that being said, people are of the opinion that we've been in this bear market for so long. Just a little note on this, like bear markets start from peak when they start trending downwards. They don't get back to the peak on average since the 1950s when you look at bear markets for 1,165 days. So we're nowhere near that at this point. Now that's calendar days. It's not trading days. Okay. But the peak was seen at the end of December 2021. Right. So we're what, 300, 400 days, call it 425 days. Something like that, we're a third of the way through this before we see new highs. At least, again, that's not to say every time is the same, but that's what history tells us.
Yeah. And then the last thing to talk about here, we'll work in this. I did not expect the 10-year to be crashing this morning. Did you check it out? It was down like 7 basis points.
Yep, I'm on it. I did. I tend to think I tend to think the 10 years continuing to move lower. I just think that all of the economic data is showing growth and inflation slowing. And
I agree. We are in sync on that. I just thought there would at least be a day where the market said inflation was a problem. I guess it's not today.
It's funny. We put out a video, and I don't need to belabor this, but we put out a video last week that like some of the buying in the market last week was irrational. And that is called window dressing, right? So at the end of the quarter, mutual funds, financial advisors put out their statements, and the clients get to see every holding they have inside their portfolio. And a lot of times they buy stuff towards the
Just
end
to
of
put
the
it on the
quarter,
books.
just to
Yeah.
put it on the books. Like they don't want Charles Schwab on the books because it was down 40%. Their client's going to go, what are you, an idiot? You hold Charles Schwab, who's down 40%. You didn't see that one coming?
Yeah,
And they want to own Apple because it's up 30%. They want to own Tesla because it's up 80 and Nvidia because it's up 70. Like
right.
a lot of that manufactured buying last week is done now. And so I think that I'm not saying that was the ultimate catalyst for the market going higher, but the Qs, the NASDAQ QQQs were up 20% in the quarter.
In a
Like
quarter.
the
That's
numbers
not an
are absurd,
annualized number. That's
right? The
that's an
numbers are absurd.
80% annualized. Yeah. Pretty crazy.
Exactly.
So you do a lot of great stuff on Instagram and TikTok. What is the page or what is the follow people should go for?
Yeah, look at us on TikTok and Instagram. It's at Life Goal Investments. We do a little different stuff on both of them, so follow us over there, and we promise we won't waste your time.
There you go. I appreciate you.